Good morning, all. This is Vijaya, Assistant Professor in the Department of Pharmaceutical Analysis, School of Pharmacy, Bharat Institute of Higher Education and Research, Chennai. Now, we are going to discuss about biomolecules. What is meant by biomolecule? The chemicals or molecules present in the living organism is known as biomolecule. The sum total of different types of biomolecules, compounds and ions present in a cell is called as a cellular pool. The biomolecules are compounds of carbon, hence the chemistry of living organism is organized on the carbon. The carbon is the most versatile and most predominant element of life. So these are the important elements and their role in non-living system and living system. The hydrogen is 0.14% plays a role in non-living system and 0.5% in living matter. And carbon 0.03 in non-living system and living system 18.5%. And oxygen 46.6 and in living matter 65%. Nitrogen is very less in non-living and in living 3.3%. Sulfur 0.03% in non-living and 0.3% in living. Sodium 2.8% in non-living and in living 0.2%. Calcium, magnesium, silicon, all these are the elements. They plays a role in non-living system and living system according to that their percentage. Then coming to the biomolecule can be categorized as two types. Those are inorganic and organic. The inorganic biomolecules are minerals, gases and water. The organic biomolecules are carbohydrate, lipid, amino acid, protein, enzyme, nucleotides, nucleic acids, vitamins. Then these biomolecules, based on their size also, these can be categorized as two types. Those are micromolecules and macromolecules. The micromolecule is nothing but these are small sized and low molecular weight. It possesses the weight between 18 and 800 daltons and these are found in the acid soluble pool. So the micromolecules, these are small in size and their molecular weight is 18 and 800 daltons and these will be found in the acid soluble pool. And the examples of these micromolecules are minerals, gases, water, sugar, amino acid and nucleotides. The macromolecules, these are the large sized biomolecules and these possess a high molecular weight and up to 10 above 10,000 daltons of molecular weight these macromolecules will possess and these will be found in the acid insoluble pool. And the examples of these macromolecules are carbohydrates, lipids, proteins, nucleic acids. The major complex biomolecules of cells, those are like protein, DNA, RNA, polysaccharide, lipid. Protein is the biomolecule. This is the complex biomolecule and the building blocks of these proteins are the amino acid and the function of this protein is basic structure and function of cell. So here, as we know very well about protein, it is a polymer of amino acid. So the building blocks of proteins are the amino acids. Then coming to the nucleic acids, the examples of nucleic acids are DNA and RNA. DNA is deoxyribonucleic acid. The function of this is hereditary information and RNA is ribonucleic acid. The function of this is protein synthesis. Then coming to the carbohydrates, that is in the carbohydrate, the polysaccharide building blocks are monosaccharide and the function of this polysaccharide are storage form of energy. Coming to the lipids, the lipid also is the major complex biomolecule and it composed of, the building blocks of lipids are fatty acids and glycerol. Then the functions of these lipids are storage form of energy to meet long-term demands. Coming to the nucleotide, see the nucleic acid we saw, right? So that is DNA and RNA. So this DNA and RNA is having the nucleotide. So what is mean by nucleotide? The nucleotide is composed of three components. Those are nitrogenous base, sugar and phosphate. Then coming to sugar present in the nucleic acids. So the sugar, two types of sugars are present in the nucleic acids. Those are deoxyribose sugar and ribose sugar. What is the difference between deoxyribose sugar and ribose sugar? This deoxyribose sugar is present in DNA and in ribose sugar is present in RNA. What is the difference, the structural difference between this deoxyribose sugar and ribose sugar means? Here, this is the 5 carbon containing sugar, carbohydrate, and the second position of this carbon in ribose sugar, oxygen is there, and in deoxyribose sugar, in second position, there is no presence of oxygen. So that's why we will indicate that the absence of oxygen we will indicate with deoxy. So the difference is the deoxyribose sugar is present in DNA and ribose sugar is present in RNA. Then coming to here, so as we have discussed earlier, the nucleotide is composed of nitrogenous base, ribose sugar and phosphate. So we saw the sugar, the two types of sugars are there. Those are deoxyribose and ribose. Then now we are going to see that nitrogen base. So what is that nitrogenous base? Those two types of nitrogenous bases are present. Those are purine and pyrimidine. So the purine, this is the basic nucleus present in the purine, and the purine nitrogenous bases are adenine and guanine. So what is the difference between this adenine and guanine means? In the sixth position of this adenine is having amino group. So we can call it as a 6-amino purine. And this is here in the guanine, the second position nitrogen group, amino group is there, and sixth position oxo group is there. So we can say this is 2-amino 6-oxopurine. Then coming to the pyrimidine, this is the basic nucleus present in the, this is the basic nucleus in pyrimidine, and here the pyrimidine nitrogenous bases are cytosine, uracil, thiamine. So here this is the cytosine structure. Here the second position cytosine, second position oxygen is there, that is double bond O is there, and in fourth position amino group is there. In uracil, the second position same like keto group is there. Here also fourth position, instead of this amino group, here also double bond O is there. Then coming to the thiamine, this is the structure of thiamine. So the difference between this uracil and thiamine, the only difference is to this uracil fifth position, if we substitute the methyl group, that is called the thiamine. So here this bases, the purines, adenine, guanine, cytosine, thiamine is present in DNA, and adenine, guanine, cytosine, uracil is present in RNA. So instead of thiamine, in RNA, uracil will be present. Then coming to the nucleotides. So as we have discussed, nucleotide is the composition of nitrogenous base, ribose sugar and phosphate. So now what is mean by nucleoside? So the nucleoside is deoxyadenosine. So the deoxyadenosine, deoxyguanosine, deoxythymidine and deoxycytidine, we are saying nucleosides. So this deoxyadenosine is nucleoside. So what is the difference between this nucleotide and nucleoside means? The presence of nitrogenous base, sugar and phosphate, we can say the nucleotide, and the presence of only nitrogenous base and sugar, we can say the nucleoside. So the nucleotides of adenine is deoxyadenylate 5-monophosphate and deoxyguanylate 5-monophosphate and deoxythymidylate 5-monophosphate and deoxycytidylate 5-monophosphate. And then coming to the nucleosides of these adenine, guanine, thiamine and cytosine, deoxyadenosine, deoxyguanosine, deoxythymidine and deoxycytidine. Then coming to ribonucleotides. So these are the deoxyribonucleotides. So where it will be present? In DNA it will be present. And then coming to ribonucleotide, why we are calling these are deoxyribonucleotides means, so there is say presence of deoxyribose sugar. So due to presence of that, we can say it is a deoxyribonucleotides. Then here coming to ribonucleotides, the ribonucleotides are adenylate 5-monophosphate, guanylate 5-monophosphate, uridylate 5-monophosphate, citidylate 5-monophosphate. Then coming to the nucleosides of these ribonucleosides, those are adenosine, guanosine, uridine and cytidine. So this is the structure of DNA. The DNA structure possesses a double helical structure. So this is the structure of DNA. And then coming to, so these are the complementary base pairing present in the structure of DNA. So how these bases will be paired together means, so always thymine will bind with adenine with 2 hydrogen bonds, and cytosine will bind with guanine with 3 hydrogen bonds. And this is the double helical structure and dimensions of this DNA. So this is called the minor groove, and this is called the major groove. The distance between this minor groove and major groove, this is the one groove is called, it possesses the dimension 3.4 nanometer. Then coming to RNA, different types of RNA is there. The structure of RNA is a single stranded RNA, and different types of RNA is there, that is mRNA, rRNA and tRNA. So coming to the mRNA, this is the structure of mRNA, and this is the structure of rRNA, and this is the tRNA. Coming to this tRNA, this is the parts of the tRNA. Then coming to the carbohydrates, until we discussed about nucleic acids. Then coming to here, carbohydrates. As we know very well about carbohydrates, the carbohydrates are the most abundant organic molecules in the nature. The term carbohydrate is derived from the French term hydrate de carbone. It's a hydrate of carbon. The formula for CnH2OL. And the olden definition of carbohydrate is, simply they will tell, the carbohydrate is a carbon, hydrogen, oxygen containing organic molecule. And the new definition, according to the new definition, the carbohydrates are polyhydroxyaldehydes ketones. And carbohydrates are defined as the organic substances having carbon, hydrogen, oxygen, wherein hydrogen and oxygens are in the ratio 2:1 as found in water. Then coming to the functions of carbohydrates. Carbohydrates most abundant source of energy, 4 calories per gram, and precursors for many organic compounds like fats and amino acids, and these present as a glycoproteins and glycolipids in the cell membrane, and function as a cell growth and fertilization, and these also present as a structural components like cellulose in plants, and exoskeleton of some insects, cell wall of microorganisms, and storage form of energy to meet the energy demands of the body. All these are the functions of carbohydrates. Then coming to the classification of carbohydrates, the monosaccharides, oligosaccharides and polysaccharides. So what is mean by monosaccharide, and what is mean by oligosaccharide, and what is mean by polysaccharide? Here coming to the monosaccharide. So the monosaccharide is consist of a basic unit of carbohydrate. It cannot be hydrolyzed into smaller unit. Then this can be classified based on the number of carbon atoms present in the, based on the number of carbon atoms and based on the functional group. So based on the carbon atoms present, this can be classified as trioses, tetroses, pentoses, hexoses, heptoses. And based on the functional group, this can be classified as aldoses and ketoses. So coming to the trioses, the 3 carbon containing carbohydrate, we can say the triose. This is the formula for, that is C3H6O3. According to the 2:1 ratio, the carbon and hydrogen will be there. So this is the formula for triose. The examples for triose, those are glyceraldehyde and dihydroxyacetone. Then coming to the tetroses, the formula for tetrose is C4H8O4. The example for erythros and threose. And the 4 carbon containing carbohydrate, we can say the tetrose. Then coming to pentose, the 5 carbon containing carbohydrate is pentose. This is the molecular formula for pentose. The examples are ribulose, xylulose and arabinose. Then coming to hexose, the 6 carbon containing carbohydrates is hexose, and this is the molecular formula, and the example for hexoses are glucose, fructose, galactose, mannose. And coming to the heptoses, the 7 carbon containing carbohydrate is called heptose, and the examples are pseudoheptulose and glucoheptose. Then based on the functional group, again these monosaccharides can be categorized as aldose and ketose. The aldehyde group containing carbohydrates comes under the category of aldose, and the ketone group is containing carbohydrates are comes under the ketoses. So the example for these aldoses are glyceraldehyde and glucose. So this is the structure of glucose. The first position of this glucose is having aldehyde group. Due to presence of this aldehyde functional group, it will be coming under the classification, it will be comes under the aldose. It will be categorized as aldose. Then coming, this is the structure of fructose. So as it is containing the functional group, that is the keto group, so it is categorized under ketoses. So these are the based on the number of carbon atoms and based on the functional group, the classification of monosaccharide. Then coming to the oligosaccharide, the oligosaccharides, they can be further hydrolyzed. How they will be further hydrolyzed as disaccharides, trisaccharides and tetrasaccharides. Oligosaccharides are 3 types, are they disaccharides, trisaccharides and tetrasaccharides. These will undergo hydrolysis and again it will leads to the yield of carbohydrate. Then oligosaccharides, they are formed by condensation of 2 to 9 monosaccharides. Depending upon the number of monosaccharide molecule, that these can be categorized as disaccharide, trisaccharide and tetrasaccharide. Disaccharide, so the sucrose and lactose, trisaccharide raffinose and tetrasaccharide stacchylose. The smallest and the commonest oligosaccharides are disaccharides. So the disaccharides are having 2 monosaccharide units held together, and the 2 monosaccharide units is linked together by a glycosidic bond. Coming to the properties of these disaccharides, these are crystalline in nature, water soluble, sweet to taste. The examples of these disaccharides are maltose, lactose, sucrose. The maltose, it also called as malt sugar, and it is made up of 2 glucose molecules. Then lactose, it also called as a milk sugar, as it is found in naturally in milk. So the lactose is the milk sugar. Simply we will say lactose is milk sugar, and it is made up of glucose and galactose, and the sourcing of milk is due to conversion of lactose to lactic acid. Then coming to the sucrose, it also called as a cane sugar. It is the sugar found in sugar cane and sugar beet. The most abundant among naturally occurring sugar is sucrose, the important source of dietary carbohydrate, and it is made up of glucose and fructose. The lactose is made up of glucose and galactose. Maltose is made up of 2 glucose molecule. Then lactose is made up of glucose and galactose. Then the sucrose is made up of glucose and fructose. Then coming to the polysaccharides, it also called as a glycans. It is made up of repeating units of monosaccharides held by glycosidic bonds. During its formation, a water molecule is released at each condensation. This helps reduce the bulk, making it almost insoluble, it decreases its effect on water potential or osmotic potential of the cell. Unlike sugars, they are not sweet and they are ideal as a storage and as a structural component. And there are 2 types of polysaccharides. Those are homoglycans and heteroglycans. So what is mean by homoglycan and what is mean by heteroglycan? How they are categorizing here? So the homoglycan, it is made up of only one type of monosaccharide monomers. For example, starch, glycogen, cellulose. So here the glucan is a homoglycan and it is made up of only one type of monosaccharide, that is glucose, and fructan, it is made up of a fructose, and galactan, it is made up of a galactose. Then coming to the heteroglycan, it is made up of it's a made up condensation of two or more type of monosaccharides. For example, hyaluronic acid, agar, chitin, and peptidoglycan. So this is the polysaccharide. It also called as glycan. These polysaccharide can be categorized as two types. Those are homoglycan and heteroglycan. And based on presence of monosaccharide, type of monosaccharide, these will be categorized. The one type of monosaccharide is present, that we can say the homoglycan, and two or more type of monosaccharides are present, we can say the heteroglycan. Then coming to the storage polysaccharide, the starch is a storage polysaccharide, and glycogen is a storage polysaccharide, and inulin is a storage polysaccharide. The starch, it is the carbohydrate reserve of plants and the most important dietary source for animal. The high content of starch in cereals, roots, tubers, and vegetables. The starch is present in high content in cereals, roots, tubers, and vegetables. This is the homopolymer made up of glucose units. It also called as glucan. The starch also composed of like amylose and amylopectin, that is the components of polysaccharides. Coming to the glycogen, the carbohydrate reserve in animals, hence referred as animal starch. High concentration in liver, muscle, and brain. It also found in plants that do not have chlorophyll, for example, yeast and fungi. The glucose is the repeating unit in this glycogen, so it is the homo homoglycan. Then coming to the inulin, the polymer of fructose, that is fructosol. It is found in dahlia, bulbs, garlic, and onion. It is easily soluble in water, and inulin is not readily metabolized in the human body, and it is readily filtered through the kidney. Hence used for testing kidney function test. Coming to the structural polysaccharides, the structural polysaccharides are cellulose and chitin. The first one is cellulose. The cellulose occurs exclusively in plants and is the most abundant organic substance in plant kingdom, and it is the predominant constituent of the plant cell wall, and it is totally absent in animals. Coming to the chitin is the second most abundant organic substance. The complex carbohydrate of heteropolysaccharide type, it is found in the exoskeleton of some invertebrates like insects and crustaceans, and it provides both strength and elasticity, and it becomes hard when impregnated with calcium carbonate. So this is about the chitin. Then coming to the proteins, this all whatever we have discussed until, all these are the classification of carbohydrates and their structures and their functions and their uses. Coming to the proteins. The proteins are the most abundant organic molecules of the living system. They form about 50% of the dry weight of the cell. They are most important for the architecture and functioning of the cell. These proteins can be referred as a polymers of amino acids. Why? Because the amino acids are the building blocks of proteins. So it is referred as a polymers of amino acid. The proteins on complete hydrolysis yields amino acids. There are 20 standard amino acids which are repeatedly found in the structure of proteins, animal, plant, or microbial. The collagen is the most abundant animal protein and Rubisco is the most abundant plant protein. The protein synthesis is mainly controlled by DNA. So all these are the functions of these proteins. Coming to the amino acid, so as the protein is the polymer of amino acid, we should know here what is amino acid. The amino acids are the group of organic compounds having two functional groups, that is amino group and carboxylic acid group. Amino group is a basic, whereas carboxylic acid group is acidic, or can be H in glycine, CH3 in alanine, and hydroxymethyl in serine. In other, it can be hydrocarbon chain or a cyclic group. So this is the R group. So here this is the structure of amino acid. This is one end it is having amino group, another end it is having carboxylic acid group. In the middle carbon it is attached with a side chain. That side chain is R. This R may be hydrogen, may be methyl group, and it's maybe hydroxymethyl, or it may be hydrocarbon or any acyclic group. All amino acids containing carbon, hydrogen, oxygen and nitrogen, but some of them additionally containing sulfur. The physical and chemical properties of amino acids are due to amino group, carboxyl and or functional groups. Amino acids are differentiated into 7 groups. So based on their nature, it can be differentiated into 7 groups. Those are neutral amino acids, acidic amino acids, basic amino acid, sulfur containing amino acid, alcoholic amino acids and aromatic amino acids and heterocyclic amino acids. The neutral amino acids. So the neutral amino acids having both one amino group and one carboxylic acid group. So we can say it is the neutral. Base is there and acid is there. So we can refer as a neutral amino acid. So the examples are glycine, alanine, valine, leucine, isoleucine. Coming to the acidic amino acid, see as the name is saying here acidic. So one extra carboxylic acid group will be there. So such type of amino acids is called as acidic nature of amino acids. So examples are aspartic acid, asparagine, glutamic acid and glutamine. Then coming to the basic amino acids, those are one extra amino group will be present. That is called basic amino acids. For example, arginine, lysine. Sulfur containing amino acids. The sulfur will be present in few amino acids. Those are sulfur containing amino acids. For example, cysteine, methionine. Then coming to the alcohol containing amino acids, those are like, as the name is saying, alcohol, it is the amino acids which are having hydroxyl group. We can say the alcoholic amino acids. For example, serine, threonine, tyrosine. Then coming to the aromatic amino acids, the amino acids having cyclic structure, then we can say aromatic amino acids. The examples are phenylalanine and tryptophan. Then coming to the heterocyclic amino acids are amino acids having N nitrogen in ring structure is called histidine and proline. Why we are saying it is a heterocyclic? Oxygen, sulfur, nitrogens are hetero atoms. So the presence of this hetero atom, if any amino acid is there, we can say heterocyclic. And ring structure, based on ring structure and based on nitrogen atom, we are saying it is the heterocyclic. So the heterocyclic amino acid, the amino acid having nitrogen in ring structure, we can say the heterocyclic amino acid. For example is histidine and proline. And these are the structures for, this is the alanine. As we have discussed, in alanine it is having R group is H. Then this is the aspartic acid, this is the lysine, and this is the serine alcoholic group containing here, and the cysteine is sulfur containing, this is SH is sulfhydryl group, and phenylalanine is aromatic, here the benzene ring is having. So all these are the example for the amino acids. And coming to the peptide formation, as we have discussed earlier, the carbohydrates, the two monosaccharides are joined together by a glycosidic bond, then disaccharide is forming. As same like here, the two amino acids are joining together. I mean to say here, one amino acid, amino group should join with adjacent amino acid, acidic group. Then it will form a one bond between them. That bond we can say the peptide bond. So see here, the amino acids are linked serially by peptide bonds. That is, the peptide bond is CONH formed between the amino group of one amino acid and the carboxylic acid group of adjacent amino acid. The chain having two amino acids linked by a peptide bond is called as a dipeptide. So this is the one amino acid and this is the another amino acid. These both are near, and see one amino acid carboxylic acid group will join with another amino acid amino group. Then it is forming a one bond. This bond we can say the peptide linkage. So this side we can say N-terminal, here amino group is there. Here we can say it is the carboxylic acid group. Based on that we can say C-terminal. So the sequence of amino acids present in a polypeptide is specific for a particular protein. Then coming to the structure of proteins, the four basic structural levels are assigned to the proteins. Those are primary structure, secondary structure, tertiary structure, and quaternary structure. The primary structure. The primary structure refers to the number and linear sequence of amino acids in the polypeptide chain and the location of the disulfide bridges. Based on this, they will tell the primary structure. The primary structure is responsible for the function of the protein. The N-terminal amino acid is written on the left side, whereas the C-terminal amino acid is written on the right side. Then coming to the secondary structure, the folding of the linear chain into a specific coiled structure is called as a secondary structure. The three types of secondary structures are there. Those are alpha helix, beta pleated sheet, and collagen helix. And this is the alpha helix, and this is the beta pleated sheet, and this is the collagen helix. So these are the secondary structures of proteins. Then coming to the tertiary structure of protein, the helical polypeptide may fold upon itself and assumes a complex but specific form that will be like spherical shape or rod-like or something in between. So this is the structure of tertiary. This is the tertiary structure of the protein, and it is folding, and in this between the foldings it is connecting. So this is called the tertiary structure. Then coming to the quaternary structure, the proteins are said to be quaternary in structure if they have two or more polypeptide chain. The hemoglobin is an excellent example for the quaternary structure. This is the structure of quaternary structure. This is the quaternary structure of protein. Then coming to the proteins. This proteins example, until we have discussed about that amino acids and completed. Now proteins, based on the function of proteins and based on the chemical nature and solubility, based on the nutritional importance, the proteins can be categorized as three types. The first one, the functional proteins, and the second one is based on the chemical nature and solubility, the proteins can be categorized. And the functional classification, the function based on the functions, the proteins which are having a capability to involve in structural functions, that will be called as a structural proteins, for example keratin and collagen. And the enzymatic proteins, examples are pepsin. And another one, transport proteins, the sum of the proteins are having a capability of transporting. So such type of proteins are called transport proteins. Example are, well known example is hemoglobin. The hormonal proteins, those are insulin, growth hormone. The contractile proteins are actin, myosin. The storage proteins are ovalbumin. The genetic proteins are nucleoproteins. The defense proteins are immunoglobulins. The receptor proteins, for example hormones and viruses. All these are the protein classification based on their functions. Then coming to the classification of the protein based on the chemical nature and solubility. This is a simple protein, conjugated protein, and derived proteins. Simple proteins, they are composed only of amino acid residues. Those are called simple proteins. The conjugated proteins are along with amino acid. One non-protein prosthetic group also will be present in conjugated protein. Then coming to the derived proteins, these are the degenerated or degraded products of simple proteins and conjugated proteins. Then coming to the proteins, simple proteins and conjugated proteins and derived proteins. Here the simple proteins based on function we categorized, right? So here based on their shape, globular proteins and fibrous proteins. Again they will be saying as globular proteins and fibrous proteins. Here albumin, globulin and histones comes under category of these globular proteins, and this collagen, elastin, keratin is comes under fibrous proteins, fibrous simple proteins. Then coming to the conjugated, different types of conjugated proteins are there. Those are nucleoproteins, glycoproteins, mucoproteins, lipoproteins, phosphoproteins and chromoproteins and metalloproteins. Then coming to the derived proteins, two types of derived proteins are there here. Then primary derived protein and secondary derived protein. The primary derived proteins are coagulated proteins, proteins, coagulated proteins, proteins and metaproteins. And the secondary derived proteins are proteases, protons and peptides. Coming to the lipids. The lipids, the lipid will tell with water, touch me not, and with the tongue, tasteless, within limits, dutiful, and in excess, dangerous. So the definition of the lipid is, lipids are the chief concentrated storage form of energy forming compound about 3.5% of the cell content. Lipids are organic substances relatively insoluble in water but soluble in organic solvents like alcohol and ether. These are relatively insoluble in water, but these will be soluble in organic solvents like alcohol and ether. Coming to the functions of lipids, they are the concentrated fuel reserve of the body. And the second one, these are the constants of membrane structure and regulate the membrane permeability. Then they serve as a source of fat soluble vitamins. For fat soluble vitamins, they serve as a source. The lipids are important cellular metabolic regulators, and it also protect the internal organs, and they serve as a insulating material. So these are the functions of lipids. Then coming to lipids, these lipids can be classified as three types. Those are simple lipids, complex lipids and derived lipids. Simple lipids, fats and oils and waxes. Complex lipids, phospholipids, glycolipids, lipoproteins. Derived lipids, steroids and terpenes. The simple lipids, fats and oils and waxes. They are the esters of fatty acids with alcohol. There are two types. The neutral or true fats and waxes. The true fats are, these are the esters of fatty acids with glycerol, and waxes are esters of fatty acids with alcohol other than glycerol. The neutral or true fats, the true fats are made up of carbon, hydrogen, oxygen, but oxygen is less. A fat molecule is made up of two components, those are glycerol and fatty acid. Then coming to the glycerol, glycerol molecule has 3 carbons each bearing a hydroxyl group. The fatty acid is the molecule, it is a unbranched chain of carbon atoms. It has a carboxylic acid group at one end and hydrogen bonded to almost all the carbon atoms. The fatty acid may be saturated or unsaturated. Then coming to the waxes, lipids which are long chain saturated fatty acids and long chain saturated alcohol of high molecular weight other than glycerol. For example, beeswax, lanolin, sebum, cerumen, plant wax and paraffin wax. Beeswax, this is the secretion of abdominal glands of worker honeybee. Then coming to the wool fat, also called as lanolin, and this is the secretion of cutaneous glands and obtained from the wool of sheep. And coming to the sebum, this is the secretion of sebaceous glands of skin. And cerumen, it is the soft and brownish waxy secretion of the glands in the external auditory canal. It also called as the earwax. Plant wax, this is the coating formed on the plant organs to prevent transpiration. The paraffin wax, a translucent waxy substance obtained from petroleum. So all these are the example for waxes. Then coming to the complex lipids, the complex lipids are the derivatives of simple lipids having additional groups like phosphate and nitrogenous base and protein. They are the further divided into phospholipids, glycolipids and lipoproteins. Here in phospholipids, phosphogroups and lipid will be there. Here in glycolipid group, it is glyco group and lipid group will be there. Here lipoprotein, lipid and protein will be there. So all these will be comes under category of complex lipids. For example, phospholipid. They are made up of a molecule of glycerol or other alcohol having a phospho group at one of its hydroxyl group and two fatty acid molecule at other two hydroxyl groups and a nitrogen containing base attached to the phospho group. A phospholipid molecule has hydrophobic tail, that is the fatty acid tail, and a hydrophilic head, that is the phospho group. So this is the hydrophilic head and this is the hydrophobic tail. This is the polar and this is the non-polar end. So this is about the phospholipid. And coming to the glycolipid, glycolipids are components of cell membranes, particularly myelin sheath and chloroplast membrane. For example, cerebrosides. These are the most simplest form of glycosides. This is the structure of cerebroside. So here glucose or galactose sugar unit will be there, that will be attached to lipid. So we can say it is the cerebroside. Then coming to the lipoprotein. They contain lipids and proteins in their molecule. They are main constants of membrane. They are found in milk and egg yolk. Lipids are transported in blood and lymph as a lipoprotein. Five types of lipoproteins are categorized. Those are chylomicrons, VLDL, LDL, HDL and free fatty acids. And coming to the derived lipids, they are derivatives. These are the derivatives obtained on hydrolysis of simple and complex lipids. For example, steroids, terpenes and prostaglandins. These are the steroids. All these are the example for steroids. Those are like testosterone, cortisone, vitamin D and cholesterol. The steroids do not contain fatty acids but are included in lipids as they have fat-like properties. Due to their fat properties, they include in steroids. They are made up of four fused carbon rings. For example, cholesterol, vitamin D, testosterone, and adrenocortical hormones. The most common steroids are sterols. The common sterols are cholesterol and ergosterol. These are the common sterols. Then coming to the terpenes. The terpenes are a major components of essential oils produced by plants. They give fragrance to the plant pot. Vitamin A, E and K contain terpenoid called phytol. Carotenoid, it is a pigment precursor for vitamin A. Lycopene is a pigment present in tomatoes, is a terpenoid. So this is the lycopene, it's a pigment which is present in tomatoes as a terpenoid. And this is the carotenoid, it's a pigment which is present and it will be act as a precursor for synthesis of vitamin A. Then coming to the gibberellins, this is the plant hormone and it also a terpene. This is the plant, gibberellins are the plant hormones. Thank you. This is the explanation for biomolecules.